Late at night, the doctors and the TV crew give them a fright. The movies are cheesy and so's the host. Look out, honey, here's 13 ghosts. And Dr. Destruction's Crimson Theater, Bill's the monster, eater. And Dr. Destruction's Crimson Theater, Dr. Destruction's Crimson Theater, ghoulies, come on!
Ghoulies, here we are once again. I'm joined again by Mrs. Wells, was it, or Mrs. Wells?
Mrs. Godfredson?
Mrs. Godfredson, and
Boy, you have no memory, young man.
Definitely, you are grandmother of Orson Welles.
I am?
A fine
Georgie?
man, wouldn't you say?
Depends on how one defines the word fine.
Okay, and Rebecca has joined us once again.
I have.
I've gotten letters. They're asking, where are you? I said, well, you know, it's a young girl has to do what she's got to do.
Of course.
If that means blowing off Crimson Theater, well, nah, whatever.
I try to come back every so often.
That's right. We'll keep.
Make my appearance.
That's right.
Young girl like you should be out doing beautiful young, healthy little things.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Parading around in bizarre costumes in front of thousands of people. No, we won't even go there.
No, she's a beautiful young girl.
Well, thank you. That's why she's on the show.
Absolutely.
Or one of the reasons. In any case, yes, Orson has visited the show a couple of times.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Well, I guess
surprised, though.
I should.
Does not surprise me.
I should know that I was warned. You warned me. You were here first.
I was indeed, as I should be.
Now, what went wrong? What accounted for this poor man's disruptive behavior?
How long have we got?
We've got all night. We got a short movie.
Well, then let me start at the very beginning. Orson's father, my son Dickie, well, I call him Dickie. Most people call him Dick. My son Dick married a beautiful young woman named Beatrice Ives, and their first son was Richard Ives Wells, and he was Dickie. Oh, what a disappointment as a grandson. He was slow and he stammered and he was slow, and I'm afraid, I hate to use this word as harsh, but he was dumb. And 10 years later, Beatrice gave birth to George Orson Welles, named after my father Orson and my uncle George. Georgie was a bright child, just like his father. Oh, he had brains, and he was brilliant. He was good at math, just like his father. His father was an inventor and has 7 patents in the Library of Congress, if you look it up, and I hope you do. That's my son. His mother was a pianist. Oh, she was brilliant. She was so talented. Well, Georgie was artistic, unathletic, wasn't interested in going into business like his father or his grandfather. No, he was artistic. Oh, and for the drama, where is that going to get you? It's not going to get you a job. That is not going to get you steady income. That is not going to get you a steady family life, all which have proven to be true, let me tell you. All he wanted was to be artistic and to draw and to act. And he also was into magic, can you believe that? And, all kinds of weird things. Puppetry! What is that all about?
Not the common core realistic things that the family had built its empire upon.
Absolutely not.
Unheard of.
Unheard of. Especially in the Head family. Unheard of. He was just, and he had such potential. He would have been an excellent lawyer. He had the brains for it, and the logical mind, and the business skills. But what does he do? He wants to be an actor. I want to act. Oh, please. That's a diversion. Acting is a diversion.
It's a diversion, but I imagine that culture of stardom and movies, that was really coming up in his time.
Oh, pish posh.
Well, it wasn't it? There was great things being done with film.
Of course there was. Of course.
Now, obviously, a film actor doesn't have the pressure that a stage actor has.
Well, obviously not. And Georgie did do quite well on the stage, let me tell you. I'm very proud of his Shakespearean performances. Now, that is art.
That is art. You are proud of his Shakespearean.
I am proud of his Shakespearean performance.
Now, that didn't he do a very interesting version of Othello in Harlem?
He did.
With a bunch of actors that
He
they
did.
never thought they could possibly do
He's
Shakespeare.
Innovative and on the cutting edge. I did not approve, but I'm very proud of his acting in Shakespeare. Because Shakespeare, now that's art. That is art. It's high art.
It's the true test of any actor.
It is, absolutely.
Do you know I made my debut at the Grand Theatre Plymouth? They bombed the Grand Theatre Plymouth, you know.
I'm sure.
Yes, those Germans.
Oh dear. Oh dear, I lived through both wars. Let's not go into that.
Let's not go into that.
No, we are not going across the pond.
Now, sir, after the great shenanigans of the broadcast of War of the Worlds, Orson Welles gets a major movie contract for Citizen Kane,
Yes.
heralded as greatest movie ever made by several people.
Pish posh.
You didn't like the film?
It's bilge. I did not at all. I did not like it at all. But it was dark, it was gloomy, loosely based on William Randolph Hearst's life. Leave the man alone. Don't pry into somebody else's business, for crying out loud. You nosy, insolent brat. I was so terribly disappointed.
Well, William Randolph Hearst made his career out of prying into other people's
He
business.
is not my grandson.
He's not your grandson.
William
no.
Randolph Hearst is not my
Well,
grandson.
I understand that, but
George Orson Welles is my grandson, and that is not how a proper young gentleman, he was a very young boy at that time, should act. He was raised better.
well, we see this sort of thing all the time when a young man is, when he's successful in show business, it suddenly it just all goes wrong.
Absolutely.
Are you trying to tell me that Orson Welles was the Justin Bieber of his time?
I'm sorry, I don't know who Mr. Bieber is.
How about Christy McNichol? Does that come to mind?
Oh, certainly. And what was her brother's name? James, I believe?
I don't know if she had a
I
brother.
can't remember.
Christy McNichol, who made Family. That's the show. Yes, it is.
and something else with the big dog Dreyfus. Oh, I can't remember. It was a spin-off of the Golden Girls. Wonderful show, by the way.
Oh, right. She
What
was
was
on
the
that
name
too.
of
I know
that?
the Golden Girls. There was a spin-off of the Golden
There
Girls?
was.
I didn't know that.
It was with the neighbor, the pediatrician, and he had the big dog Dreyfus. Oh, come on now.
I was
Oh, how uneducated.
I was out socializing in those days. I was not watching 80s television or 90s television
honestly,
either, for that matter.
honestly.
Nope.
That was the heyday, you could say,
Of what? Not of television.
of getting out of the house for me.
In the 80s? Oh. Ronald Reagan.
Anywhere but home with a terrible, crappy primetime 80s television.
Well,
Now, what do you think of television as a whole, as a medium? Then, now?
I don't like it.
You don't like it?
I don't like it. I don't
Except the
approve.
Golden Girls.
It's not, well, I like the Golden Girls,
Oh,
but
all right, there you go.
I could have lived successfully without it.
They had another show. What was that other
It was a diversion, as we
shows like with the two female cops? What was that? Gag Me and Lace Me or something like that?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh,
I don't
that was
know.
tripe.
I don't know.
I don't know what it is you speak of.
Oh, terrible! You're better off not knowing.
Yeah.
Better off not knowing. But no,
No, television is it's passive entertainment. Passive entertainment.
yes, you're passive on using any brain cells.
Exactly.
Not this show, of course. We're always
Oh, of course not.
we're pushing the envelope on
Present
Crimson
company
Theater,
is always
but we're
accepted.
desperately hoping to open an envelope one of these days because that's not happening now.
Well, okay.
That's
Your decision.
Now I imagine, with all your prejudices aside towards poor Orson,
They are not
eh,
prejudices, they are truths, young man.
You must have liked the gothic romance of Jane Eyre. I think he was quite good in that one.
Ugh.
No, again, too gloomy,
No.
too artsy.
One should read the book and use one's own imagination to picture scenes in moors and fog and the love. One should use one's own imagination and think with the brains that the good Lord gave all of us, rather than have somebody else paint a portrait for you.
I'm in agreement with that,
I
ma'am,
am
as
too, yeah.
I am a movie fan, but I just think that the culture today doesn't have the attention span for anything more than a 5-foot YouTube video, 5-minute
Absolutely.
YouTube video.
That's
I don't
Got
know
it.
what that is, but one should use one's own imagination and read.
Absolutely.
We are getting less and less literate
Oh,
because
far
of
less
television
literate.
and because of this internet thing. Oh, we are not going to go there.
Well, all I know is back in my day, the teachers were, English teachers were quite worried about us using slang and
Oh,
and
Now they
said how
embrace
that
it.
slang could end up destroying the American English language.
I would have to agree.
And
And I know folks over in Britain, the UK, who would agree that we Americans have, in fact, destroyed the English.
oh, they certainly would agree with that.
Oh, absolutely.
They're still fighting the British war with the United States, if you know any British.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's
well,
just...
of course I know some British people.
Mm-hmm.
My father, that means me as well, we can trace our heritage back to the Mayflower, thank you.
Ah, indeed.
There's more than one person.
That makes a lot of sense.
The Bradfords and the Aldens.
The Bradfords. Mary D. Bradford and Bradfords?
Interestingly enough that you should bring up Mrs. Bradford, my daughter-in-law, Beatrice Ives, who is Georgie's mother, she and Mrs. Bradford were on the school board together in Kenosha. And they worked very hard together to get some of their policies enacted because they were women. And women, of course, at that time were not taken seriously. I'm very proud of Beatrice.
Very good, very good. Interesting stuff here on Crimson Theater, but of course, we have to
It's the
show a
truth.
very,
Facts.
very fine feature to show tonight. That part of the show. It is a...
Oh, please don't tell me. The Magnificent Ambersons.
No, we wish we could show that. We've got
no.
monolith monsters. Yes. Very abstract in concept indeed. Giant, after
No.
meteors falling to the earth, typical thing in the 50s.
More science fiction.
Yes, more science fiction.
Oh dear, don't tell me aliens and UFOs.
No, more like
Mars attacking.
more like rocks.
Rocks.
Giant
Oh,
pointy
it's about
rocks.
geology. Geology is a good science
Archaeology gone wrong.
subject. Geology.
Geology, a mix of the two. Because these things are somewhat alive.
Who wrote the book, sir?
There probably never was a book.
Oh, I go back to my point.
I believe the entire script was written on a roll of bathroom tissue. Probably 2 days before shooting.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh,
I know. What have they descended to?
That sounds like something Georgie would have done.
Oh no, I
Write
wouldn't even blame
something
this on George.
tissue paper.
You think
Or
he would have done
toilet
that?
tissue. Oh. And 2 days before he's about to film. Oh.
2 days. Has he been known to do those things?
Oh, he has.
Well, I know in War of the Worlds he would have the cast members to go through the script and then show up like the day before and change everything.
Oh, yes, exactly. And they would be live on the radio and he would be handing out new pages. One can't do that.
Well, maybe
See,
he had
if one would stick to literature, you can count on that. It never changes.
That's true.
Radio and movies. Oh no, let's rewrite. Oh no, you don't rewrite Shakespeare.
You don't think he could be spontaneously reacting to the action of the audience?
Absolutely not.
Incredibly, in several interviews after the War of the Worlds, he denied knowing that the country was in a panic. If it was in a panic.
Oh, do you believe that malarkey? I certainly.
Well, enough people did.
Everything Georgie did was for attention. That was his motive. Look at me.
Well.
Georgie was famous for telling tall tales and fables. You can only believe, I would say, 25% of what he says to be true. The man was a liar.
Now, at this point, you are formally invited to the dinner party that's going to be sometime in June. But I have to tell you, George will be there, of course, as he requested, at the head of the table.
I should be at the head of the table. My name is Mary Blanche Head Wells Godfredson, thank you very much. And I have not yet received my engraved invitation in the U.S. Post.
Okay, well, we'll get that out immediately.
Please
Absolutely.
do.
And,
I will RSVP appropriately.
And have you ever heard of a celebrity death match before?
Oh, heavens no.
This was on MTV. You couldn't
I'm
possibly
a
know.
lady. Heavens no.
All right, Ghoulies, let's get right into it now. We eagerly anticipate the Monolith Monsters on Dr.
Indeed.
Destruction's
Oh, indeed.
Crimson Theater, madam.
Really?
You will enjoy this.
I'm sure I won't.
Well, there you are, Ghoulies, and I hope you're enjoying Monolith Monsters as much as...
Oh, please.
Yeah,
Must I endure much more of this?
well, there's a little bit to go yet, yes.
This is what they call torture.
Torture? This was one of the finest sci-fi movies of its time.
Oh, please.
Long after Mr. Wells' fine broadcast on the radio.
Well, then you all know how I felt about those.
But now you must have read some of the sci-fi H.G. Wells.
Well, of course I read it. And again, I restate my original objection that one should read and use one's own vivid imagination that the good Lord gave us all, and not have somebody decide that how we're all going to view it or picture it. That's poppycock.
Well, it's certainly become a profitable medium throughout the years.
Oh, profitable. We made our money the old-fashioned way.
And that was?
We inherited it.
That's the good way to do it.
That's the best way to do it. So,
And Orson could have inherited.
wait, was he written out of inheritance?
Oh, of course not.
Oh, so
course not.
he got his dough.
Well, he got his books. I willed Orson and his brother Dickie, Georgie, his brother Dickie, my books. And Orson, Georgie did get money from his father and from his mother.
Well, we had a great conversation. You know, I am a big fan of
Thank you.
of Mr.
I'm a
Wells.
great conversationalist.
I had a great time with Orson, but seems he wasn't happy with some of the things he did at the end of his
Were you
career.
amused by all of his tall tales?
Of course.
Most people are, because most people don't know the real Georgie.
Well, most people believe just about anything if it's quite